The Gi spot. I'd hit that.
Welcome to the Gi Spot podcast. My name's Rachel Bradshaw and I'm a black belt in Jiu Jitsu. I'm immune to your eye wiggles now. I
was trying.
it, so I know.
And you didn't even look away.
No, I looked you straight in the
You
eye.
did, I know.
And I'm like, nope.
Not biting
Done.
today. Damn, I'm going to have to find a new trick. Hi, I'm Kaz Page. I'm still a purple belt. And my tricks aren't working anymore on you.
No, I've
Never
got the
mind.
defense now.
Yeah, I know, right?
I
It's
worked,
just a
I
stare
worked it
down.
out.
I'll find something. How are you?
Good.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Welcome
Another
back
week.
to you as well.
Yay. I live here. It's kind of easy.
That's true. It's not a hard place to live. Not in the studio.
No, I don't. I definitely don't live up here. Although, you know, with how good it's coming on and how good producer Matt's doing, I almost could.
It's so good that I actually came up the stairs because you've got to walk up stairs to get here.
Yep.
And I walked up the stairs and I went, nope. I walked back down and then I pressed record and I've walked up and I've done a whole video. I'm going to put it up on the socials today.
Cool.
A whole video reel of coming up, seeing all the photos that you've got, walking up the
Yay.
stairs, walking in here, seeing producer Matt work. I heard you talk about something about the toilet, so I'm going to mute it and put music over.
There is a full bathroom here.
Yeah,
and we're down toning the noises.
See, I didn't give you warning that I was filming, so there was conversation happening. So we'll change that. That's all good.
That's okay.
Our listeners will know, but the rest of social media won't.
So, and this is the MK Ranch.
Yes.
So it's a little piece of paradise for the Page clan.
Yeah.
And all those extended families that come and hang out with us
That's
here.
it. Yeah, and it's a beautiful place to be. There's goats. There's an archery. You've really just got like Armageddon sorted.
We do, yeah.
Yeah.
We got the Jiu Jitsu and the gym downstairs. We've got the archery range. We got the livestock and it's
There's
pretty
dinner
good.
there for a few nights.
There is.
We're
We're safe. We're safe.
When the zombie apocalypse hits,
That's
the Bradshaws are coming on
That's
over.
it. We're all moving on to the MK Ranch and it's goat stew for a few months. We got it covered.
And then we'll start eating people or something.
the
I don't know.
geese. We can move on to the geese. It's okay. We got a while yet. We got the veggie garden as
Couple
well.
of snakes too, I
Yeah,
hear.
yeah. We've had a
every
couple
now
of
and then.
them. So the pythons we move on. The red bellies we try and scare away because they eat the baby browns, and the browns we just cry and do away with.
Yeah, the brown snakes are the dangerous ones.
Yeah, they're the bad ones.
And the red bellies are dangerous too, but only if provoked.
Yeah, that's
Otherwise,
right,
they're
yeah.
quite sort of a shy sort of snake,
they're pretty
aren't
chill,
they?
and they will eat the baby browns. So
Yeah.
that's a good thing. If
Yep.
you've got the red bellied mum and dad kind of there, you want them away from you. You don't want to freak out and jump on them because they will bite. But if you stay out of their way, they're more inclined to stay out of yours. So there's a little Aussie bush kind of.
Yeah. I didn't know how we got there. We didn't plan that.
No, retro.
Yes.
How was your week?
I'm trying to think. It was just the same.
Just a week?
Yeah, just a week. Got a few things coming
How
up.
was the weekend?
Uh,
Watching the kids play around in go-karts.
oh, yes. So my baby turned 17, can you believe?
He's not a little baby.
Oh, my God. It's really difficult for me to understand that I have a child. My youngest child is 17 years old. That makes me feel quite like I'm starting to get up there. But he turned 17, and your beautiful daughter, who is like, they're besties, aren't they? They get on really, really well. They're good friends. And she threw him or organised him a surprise birthday party at go-kart racing. And so he had friends come from school, he had jiu-jitsu friends there, and then he had us there as well. And there was one spot left for a go-kart, so Grant jumped in because he's the biggest kid of all.
it's Peter
And
Pan.
it was awesome. It was just so fun to watch
They
them
had
go.
so much fun, and it was hilarious because each, like it was groups of 6, and they each got 3 turns, right? So 10-minute rounds, and they each got 3 goes at that. And it was so funny to watch all of them the first round. It was very reserved, hesitant, except for Connor.
Yeah.
Your eldest, he was sliding from minute 1. Like there was no fear in that boy. And he held it really. He got better and better and
He
better as
did.
he went
Yeah,
through.
yep.
But
Which
watching
worries me about the Ray that he drives out in the real
road.
world.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
Oh.
He was not going to answer that question for fear of
Oh, look,
incrimination.
he drives a van, so I
Yeah.
don't think there's too much skidding going on.
There'd
but-
be a fair bit of rolling if he was trying to slide
think
that
so.
thing. But no, it was a good day, and it was amazing watching all of the kids, the school kids, the jiu-jitsu kids, and everybody in between kind of just go through those motions of the first 10 minutes where feeling the track, getting to know it. The second one, we got a little bit more game. By the third one, they were all just nutbags.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was hilarious.
They were crashing into each other, and
Yep.
some were taking it more seriously than others.
There
And
was
some
a
were getting
competition.
upset. And
It was pretty good. But we were sitting on the sidelines, and it's one of those things, right? It's like, I want to be in it. I want to be in it. I want to go. I want to go. So we've agreed we're all going back. The two families are going to head back there, and the adults get to have a play.
that's right. I want to get on there too.
Yeah, we get
now,
to be big
you
kids.
wanted to go back straight away.
Well, I wanted to go back next weekend, which I got kiboshed by all the adults.
Yes, because we had to be the grown-ups.
Yeah,
and
that's
go,
right, yeah.
No.
Oh, let's face it, I'll never be the grown-up. That's not a hard thing. So we instead went into negotiation, as I have a tendency to do, because your logic was for my birthday, which isn't until October, and that just seems like too far away for me.
Yeah.
And then the argument was it's got to be 12 months post the surgery or I think it was 6 months, at least 6 months post the surgery, and that kind of put me into April. And so the negotiation was, can we do it in May for Mother's Day then?
I still think it was a big no.
Yeah, I know.
I still think it's your birthday we're going to aim for.
So we got to stay tuned on this one because it's still a work in progress. So we'll see.
So how was your week other than that, which you were there with?
Yeah, I was there for that. It was okay. It was pretty quiet. Again, it's a journey, right? So all things fair and equal. I'm struggling a little bit physically in my shoulder and my neck, and we're doing further investigations through the medical process at the moment. So watch this space, stay tuned. The best I can do is just slow down a little bit. Still be there for the drills. I was in class today, and my rolls, there was no strength. Everything just has to come back to being zero strength, zero movement where I'm crunching, clutching, doing whatever in this area, and just full blown, just technical.
Yep.
And all the people that I rolled with today, I just asked if they could, probably, maybe, I don't know, boring as batshit for people that I'm with, but they're beautiful and lovely and accommodating. And so it literally is just movement.
And how was the movement?
Well, it was really interesting, actually. As we were walking back to the car, I was talking to Matt about it, and he said how did you word it? It's an interesting contrast when I roll with him and we don't bring strength into it. Now, there's no secret, right? I'm autistic, and I struggle with the ability, when you go 50%, that doesn't mean anything to me. And I don't know if it's because I'm autistic or stupid, who knows. But if my body just does what my body does. And so it's a real heavy conscious effort for me to take all the strength out of it. I've really got to consciously think, oh, no. And I don't know that I'm using strength, which is the hard part. And so with Matt, it's, I know I'm safe.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I didn't even qualify if I used any strength at all at the end of that roll. But, it felt good because it seems like I know more jiu-jitsu. Yeah, look at you smiling at me. I know, because this is based on a conversation that we had the other night. Oh, everyone's a smart ass.
I know. I just love when the pennies start to drop for you. Like you have arguments with yourself.
I know that. Often. 24 hours a day, really.
We just have to say a little thing, and then you go and think about it, and then come back with a whole argument for and against, and we just sit here and listen.
And wait, and I get to the end of it eventually. But it was really good. And, Matt's final thing was, babe, you know a lot of jiu-jitsu when you're not using strength. And my response to him was, Rach said that I was, I stop myself when I'm pinning everything down and I'm holding everything and the game stops.
Yeah.
It doesn't when I take strength out of it. And I think at the moment too, I was sitting on the bleachers today in between a couple of rolls, and I was looking around the room, and, if there's iconic people listening to this episode, please, this is nothing to do with you. What I realised is that, and what I had not ever, I guess, consciously brought to the forefront of my mind the fear of getting hurt. I just didn't realize how big a thing that was for me.
Yep.
And so sitting on the bleachers today and I'm looking around, there's a lot of people in class that know me.
Yep.
I don't know why. But there's a lot of people in classes that know.
Because you are so demure and under the radar that everyone's just like, who? Can't picture who you're talking about.
Yes, I'm very quiet and shy and reserved. Okay, yeah, no, but they do. And I don't know. So, I said to Matt once, Rachel will look around the room and go, you can roll with any of these people. But my fear of going, I just don't know. Do you know what I mean? And the whole, so, I was rolling with one of the ladies today who I adore. And even she, God bless her, she was so beautiful. She stopped half and she's like, I don't know if I can touch your neck. I'm like, oh, thank you. Yes, you can. And I'll tell you when to stop, And I know everybody would be like that. But there is still that catch in your throat like, oh, God, what if?
Yep.
I don't want to go back. I can't go back. And I know that's a fear I have to overcome because I know there's nobody that would do anything anyway.
Yeah.
I know the minute I went, oh, please stop, everybody would stop. Like logically I know all of this.
Yeah.
It's still that catch that you kind of freeze and go.
You've gone through it like a trauma.
Yeah.
Well, you've gone through a couple. So you've gone through the trauma of your initial injury on top of already injuries that had pre-existed in your life before jiu-jitsu with that spike into the mat at your old gym. Then you've gone through the trauma of the surgery, which didn't go right the first time, so you had to go back into surgery. So that was a trauma in itself. Yeah. And now you've got to learn how to trust yourself and the jiu-jitsu and these unknown forces, which are everybody else that you train with. You've got to build that trust back up again. Yeah. And that's like, triple fold. So go easy on yourself. Yeah. It's okay.
I think the realization today of owning the fear, that's the first time I've ever consciously thought, I'm actually afraid. And
you actually surprised me this morning because we did a drill where it was the half guard drill where you got to jump in and then if you lose, you jump to the end of the line as king of the mat. And so you don't get a choice who ends up with you.
I know.
And I wouldn't have been shocked if you had said to me, I'm just going to sit this one out because of my neck and I don't know all the training partners. But you were right in there. I was like, oh, okay, we'll just keep an eye on that. But everyone seemed really respectful and you were keeping yourself safe and everything.
Yeah, so. And I did really good.
Trust your jiu-jitsu that it's good enough to also keep yourself safe.
Yeah, well, and that's the other thing too. And, there's so many things in this, right? This is probably a whole other episode because like you just said, like you just went through 4 or 5 different things. There is so many elements in this that I have to now bring into play to overcome that fear.
Yeah.
I think for me, I'm quietly patting myself on the back here because owning fear is not something I do. I'm a fighter.
Yeah.
I'm in there, fuck fear, So for me to turn around and go, yeah, actually I'm a little bit afraid here of what might happen.
Yep.
And for me that's the first step. That's all. I'm glad that I sat on the bleachers and went, oh, that's what this is.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Now I know what it is. I can start working and and it's just going to mean it's a case of put my big girl panties on, open my mouth, talk to people and go, hey, this is where I'm at. I'm still a bit afraid. Can we just, And I even said to one of the ladies today that I was rolling with, look, if I ramp up because I'm an idiot, can you just tell me?
Yeah.
Like just go, hey, Kaz, what are you doing? Because sometimes. Slowly. Because I won't always know.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at.
Fear is real and there are times where I also feel fear.
On the mat?
On the mat for a moment. Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes intrusive thoughts, and I'll be rolling with someone and they'll just move in a certain way and I'll be like, don't wreck my knee or do you know what I mean? Like, because I think, oh man, I've got so many things so many hats that I have to wear.
Yep.
Yes, I'm a training partner, but I'm also a head coach here. I'm also running the business. I'm also, you know, I can't be out for 6 weeks or 12 weeks, or I can't go and have a surgery. What would happen if all those things happen? So if I have someone that moves in a slightly weird way, words, then that will kick my little fear off. And then I have to be like, it's okay, you're okay, calm down. Like, just go back to rolling, keep yourself safe. Like, don't do anything weird, you know. So
yeah, that would be a big one. And yours, you know, I can get over mine and move on, and sort of yours, I think, would be there, right? At any stage, that is a fear that is real, because you're right. Like, if you're out for 6 weeks, holy fuck.
Yeah, what happens then?
That's a big one. Yeah, that's a big impact.
Then? There's a, you know, kids program, there's morning program.
Yeah, there's the day classes and all the rest of it. Matt just got real busy.
Yeah, he really did. Actually, that reminds me, I've got to hit him up for a class. I got
2 thumbs up. All right, so we're back. We're back talking about jiu-jitsu.
Yes.
I had a, you know, there's an episode that will already be out by the time this goes live, and it was a deep dive into us as people.
Yeah.
I had so much fun doing that episode, so I hope all the listeners have a great time with that too. But today we're getting right back into the thick of it.
We are.
What's today about?
I got sent a message from a black belt friend of mine and Grant's, who we came up with. I think he got his black belt a year before I did. I've known him for years and years and years and years. And he was telling me that he's really enjoying the podcast, which is always lovely to hear. Shout out to Jai. Hi, Jai. And he said that, you know, something that he gets asked a lot is, how do you remain motivated after getting your black belt? So what keeps you keep coming back to training even after you've gotten to that point where, because a lot of martial arts, you'll find people will get to their black belt and then they'll go, okay, well, I've got here now, so I don't have to keep doing this. Or
isn't that funny?
It's weird.
And, do you know what though? It's not before you get there. It's not weird before you get there, because, you know, yes, granted, there is beyond the black belt. Sounds funny because that's the video. But I guess, you know, if you look at anything through life, you've got to benchmark, right? You've got to set goals. You've got to set stages or steps or whatever the case may be. There has got to be a pinnacle in something that you're working towards, whether it's career, education, degrees, whatever. I guess the black belt is that first major pinnacle. It's a thing that everybody's, if you get beyond blue belt, because that's the biggest dropout in jiu-jitsu.
White belt probably. Yeah. I think most people actually don't get past their white belt.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's probably especially at Iconic, I think. I find if people are going to quit, it's usually after their first stripe.
Right. Yeah, there was some statistics worldwide put out though, and blue belt is a major dropout.
Yeah.
And so, you know, those that are kind of beyond that, your black belt is where you're setting your benchmark for you. So there's all of these people out there in the world that are blue belts, purple belts, brown belts in their journey to get to that black belt. I don't think you think beyond the black belt until you're there.
I think I don't know. I never really thought too much about the belt. I thought about blue belt. I really wanted my blue belt.
Oh, really?
Yep. And once I got to blue belt, I stopped thinking so much about belts. I just kept turning up. And then before I knew it, I had my 4th stripe on my blue belt, and it had been about 6 months, and I kind of figured and heard that everyone was coming down from Newcastle to our academy on the Central Coast, and was like, oh, I reckon I might be getting my purple belt tonight. And then again, just kept turning up, and then got the 4th stripe on the purple belt, and about 6 months after that, I heard that everyone was coming down.
You're getting told every step of the way.
And I was like, oh, I reckon I'm getting my brown belt tonight. And then I sort of thought I was, and then one of the people let it slip. Are you excited about your brown belt tonight? And I went, oh. And then someone else punched that person, and then I was like, pretend I didn't hear. And then black belt I knew, because it was like a prearranged date and everything. So, but I never really, once I got the colour, that blue belt around, I was happy. Yeah. So I'm happy now. I reckon sometimes I'd be a really good blue belt. I was like, if I had to reinvent my life and start all over again in a country town,
it's not going to work, right?
I reckon, okay, all right, I wouldn't pass off as a day one person, but maybe I could go in and say I'm a blue belt.
I don't reckon you could fake it that far back. I just don't reckon you could.
I reckon I could.
All right, we're going to put it to the test now. We're going on an adventure. I want to test this theory.
We'll go to some small country town.
And you're going to put on a blue belt.
Back of Hicksville, and I'll go, I'm a blue belt in
Yep,
Jiu Jitsu.
that's it. No, don't walk in and say that.
No one would?
Well, I reckon someone's going to listen to the podcast, and the minute you walk in and go, hi, I'm Rach, I'm a blue belt in Jiu Jitsu, something's going to be off. But I am very goal oriented.
So this is really interesting because this was one of the answers. So let me retrack. I put it out to our black belts.
Yep.
So we have like 9 black belts at Iconic, and I put the question out to them. What keeps you guys motivated? And I got most of them to reply. And then I put it out to a couple of friends who are black belts, and I got answers from them. And then I threw it up this morning just before the podcast to like the Australian BJJ community Facebook page, and I got a whole bunch of answers from there. So we'll go through them. But one of the answers that came through was about extrinsic versus intrinsic motivation.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So would you consider yourself a very extrinsic motivated person?
I've actually never really thought about it.
Well, if you're very goal oriented, is it getting to that goal? Is it achieving that goal? Or is it about the journey?
Well, and that's what I mean. Like, so much about how I think and process. And again, it's based on history, right? So because I've lived a pretty intense life and I've done a lot, I'll give you an example, okay? So completely left of field, but my wedding to Matt, and because I have had 2 previous marriages, I've had 2 previous weddings. They were a blur because there was so much going on and I didn't remember the day. I knew I had the day, but there was no detail. There was no memory benchmark in it. The day that I got married to Matt, leading into that wedding day, everything about it, my whole conversation in my head was slowly, slow down, savor when you wake up, savor the fact that you're going to have champagne with your girlfriends on the patio looking out over beautiful acreage, savor the fact that your girlfriend of 30 years or 20 years or whatever at that point is doing your hair and you're all sitting around the table and making a complete mess of the house as you go through. So I can remember every aspect of that wedding day because I hadn't taken the time to realize the importance of that previously.
Yep.
So for me, the journey is super important, but the journey doesn't happen if there's not a goal for me, if there's not some sort of benchmark that I'm working towards.
And that took you 2 attempts, though, to realise that you'd stuffed it up. Not stuffed it up, but sort of stuffed up the memory of the day to go, okay, I have to correct it this time. Yeah. So in every other aspect of your life where you don't get 2 chances before to do a do-over, do you kind of forge ahead past the journey to the goal? Because I've heard you say now, like, and you've literally, if we talk about it and go a little deeper into it, you got your purple belt on April.
Yep.
And almost straight away, you've said to me, my goal is always only to get to brown belt, but now my goal is to get to black belt.
Yep.
So it's already like we're even skipping brown belt and jumping straight to black belt.
Yeah. But it was because in my logic of the brown belt comment, it was like, if I can hang in here long enough to get to brown belt, I'm doing okay. A, I didn't think physically I would hold up. And B, I didn't think mentally I would ever find a why for me. So brown belt kind of allowed the children long enough to get through it. Brown belt, my kids are hitting 18. At brown belt, Matt's kind of, he would have, should have and could have been over the black belt hump and figured out whether or not he was doing more with it and all the rest of it. So my brown belt goal was oriented around the other people in my world that are significant to me. I needed to hang into this sport. I needed to make a way for me to be able to exist and endure until that point. Because at that point, my youngest would have been through, Matt would have figured out what he was doing, and that's probably all I would have needed to do.
So there's intrinsic reasons behind an extrinsic motivator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And so I think for me, I'm kind of that oddball where it's equal. Do you know, like my journey is as important as the goal, but I need both equally almost. And I'm the kind of person, like if I get to a goal and I haven't savoured the moment, it's a high probability I will just go back and do it again.
So you'd start off as white belt again?
Probably, yeah. Yeah,
Let you savor the moments.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, I probably would quite happily go back to...
Or you could be like Matt on the Subversion podcast who's gotten a blue belt 3 times.
3 times, yeah.
Three times the charm.
Somebody give that boy a purple belt, for God's sake.
But that was, you know, the only belt I really wanted was my blue belt.
Yeah.
And then the only belt after that I really wanted was my black belt. Yeah. And it wasn't for me.
What was the black belt for?
For everyone else.
What do you mean?
I wanted to get my black belt because I felt like Iconic deserved to have black belt female coach.
Oh, cool.
I felt like I wanted to be a black belt because that's what the students it would be good for the students to have that.
You're not wrong. I will say that. We travelled America, and in the 6 months we were travelling around, I was chasing schools, right, that we could go and train in and everything. And every time I was chasing female black belts, you know, and we ended up in San Ynez with Kat and Jace because I was chasing a female black belt. Grateful for us that we met Kat and Jace because of it. But coming to Iconic and seeing a female black belt, that's utopia for me.
Yeah.
And it means that somewhere in there, you know, there's that subconscious depth that goes, I can too get there then.
And that's what I wanted. I wanted it to, it's more than me.
Yep.
It was a beacon of inspiration. It was that Iconic has a black belt female. I think I was the first female black belt on the Central Coast in an academy. You know, I think there's another one that has been around for a while but doesn't train elsewhere or sort of just trains out of their garage or something like that. And there's a couple more now, which is really great. But, you know, I wanted it for those other reasons.
I love the fact that you're there for my kids.
Yeah.
I want my girls to see that that's achievable.
Yeah.
You know, and all 3 of my girls want that.
Yeah.
And that's not because we're telling them that they have to stay in jiu-jitsu till they're 18 or whatever. They could be purple belts at 18, you know. There's a black belt at 18 is not where they're going. But they want that, which means that they will hang in there until that and then hopefully beyond. Who knows?
Absolutely.
So, and you'll be that beacon for them.
So shall we dive in?
Let's go.
Let's go. So I will be reading off my phone a little bit. I like the first answer from one of our black belts. He said, because the question I put out was, you know, what motivates you now that you're a black belt to keep on training?
Yep.
He says, if I don't use it, I will lose it. Then I'll become a regular person, but with deformed ears.
Actually, I have to say, Matt was with Addie this morning, so our youngest child, and she had something in she's had ear infections from swimming so much, and she went to Matt this morning and went, Dad, can you have a look at my ear, please? And he's having a look in her ear and he's doing something for her and helping her, and he goes, you know what, don't worry, honey, eventually you're going to have cauliflower ears like me and none of this will be a problem anymore. She's like, I will not.
Well, I've been training about 13, 14 years.
Yeah, you don't.
And I don't have. And it's because I don't do dumb shit like try and pull my head out of headlocks without good technique. Seems to be more of a boy problem. He goes on to say, training to me now is basically just medicine. Also, I only really started my serious learning at black belt. We are a part of something whether we like it or not, and I believe we have a responsibility to represent our craft and give back wherever possible.
Oh, I love that.
So let's deep dive into that a little bit. So I really love a couple of things that he said there. I mean, yeah, it is a perishable skill.
Yep.
You know, you will never forget things like how to do an armbar, how to do a choke, how to do the big movements. What you lose when you stop training is the micro movements, is your timing, is your ability to adjust and see things before they happen. And that was never more evident than after we went into 5 months of lockdown and then came out the other end and went, oh, okay, all right, I'm a little rusty. Even though Grant and I and the boys trained every second day, we were still a little rusty when we first came out.
But it's the same as anything, right? You don't use it, you lose it.
Yep.
Right? It's your brain, your body, everything. Exactly the same. So, and that would be true at any belt.
Or anything.
Or anything.
It doesn't even need, it's
right.
like a language.
That's right.
You know, you can learn a language, become fluent and then not speak it and then go, oh, forget that word now.
But I think that the benefit to it is that, you know, especially with something like jiu-jitsu or something where you're using your brain continuously, there is muscle memory, and the brain is the biggest muscle in the body, right? But there is muscle memory. So if you have had to come away from it for whatever reason, lockdowns, medical, whatever, don't come back thinking it's all gone. That's exactly what I did.
That's exactly right, yeah. You will have some retention and it doesn't take long to get it back.
That's the point.
Yeah.
As long as you come back
and
you keep showing up, things start to move again in the right direction. And that's true for any belt as well. You know, you might have only learnt 10% of jiu-jitsu because you're a white belt 4 stripes, or you might know 60% of jiu-jitsu as a brown belt or whatever, but that's what's coming back.
Oh, I wish I knew 60% of jiu-jitsu as a black belt.
Well,
I reckon I know 20% of jiu-jitsu as a black belt. That's over there nodding away.
Yeah, 60% of what you were taught through the journey.
Thanks for pulling the curtain back to Matt. Now
now she can see you. I want a camera on you too.
I get validation from my points. I like the training. To me is basically medicine. You know, it is. It's so true. Like, you got to look after that mental health no matter how old you are, no matter how long you've been doing this stuff for. We've chosen this as a lifelong pursuit, and to keep coming in, being around your community and your people, but also the activity itself. You know, it does wonderful things for your mental health. It really does. Keep you focused, keep you trained, gives you the endorphins. We've talked about it 100 times.
Yeah, I'm sitting here smiling and nodding, but I don't need to say much about this.
We've done it.
I've stated it time and time again. My
and we'll state it time and time again.
Yeah, he's here today because of jiu-jitsu.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think a lot of people are here today because of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, I think so too. I really honestly believe that.
And then I like also what he continues to say, because I agree with it 100%. I only really started my serious learning at black belt. You know, until then, you fit into that student category where you're coming in and you're still putting in the work and you're still learning and you've got your coach and you're doing that. At black belt, yes, you should still be learning from your coach. I still do. But also, that's when you start to get such a deeper understanding, or I want to go out and sort of find the answers as well. And so part of that comes from the collaboration of your other training partners around you. Some of that comes with working it out yourself, which is a really cool place to be. Some of that is referring back to your coach, and then some of it is finding answers online through credible sources. And that has to have an asterisk next to it because there's a lot of rubbish out there on the internet. So you go to the right places and get the right answers and start to bring that in. And then it might end up being a mishmash of a whole bunch of different things. And all of a sudden you can name some new guard after yourself.
You know, I reckon that's another episode that we need to look at doing too, because, you know, you talk about going online and looking at stuff and things like that and credible sources. Sometimes it's not that easy to know who the credible sources are either. And so breaking that down, you know, if you're going out and you're looking at something online that you think is right and credible, and then you go into your class and you're like, oh, hang on, that's a real problem.
And let me tell you something that I've discovered recently is the algorithm doesn't know good jiu-jitsu from bad jiu-jitsu. So something may go viral because it looks very impressive and be absolutely rubbish jiu-jitsu.
Yep.
So don't get caught up. Just because it's got, 800 and something thousand views on it doesn't mean it's actually going to work.
Yeah, that's 800,000 criticisms going against
That's
it.
all right. It's 800,000 people that I can beat.
So yeah, I like his comment. I think that's
like
great.
that too. So that was his. Another one of our black belts said, I like to help others improve. Rolling is therapeutic. Without a daily workout, I feel shit and don't sleep well.
Yeah. So, there's this common theme going, it's physical, mental, physical, mental, physical, mental, and I put a post up today going, it's Wednesday no-gi. I could have stayed at home and sat on the couch and watched telly. I could have stayed at home and sat at my desk and done some work, some housework, whatever the case may be. But I chose my mental health and my physical health, and I went to Jiu Jitsu.
Yes.
And
the other stuff can wait.
That's right.
It's going to get done anyway.
I can come back and do that.
Yep.
But class was at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
I couldn't go at 3 p.m. or 2 p.m. or 1 p.m. Class was at 9 a.m. So I got off my ass and I went to class and I come home and then I did the other stuff.
Yep. And now we're here.
And I'm still smiling.
I really like the point he says about helping others improve.
Yeah.
I get a lot of motivation out of that. I love seeing students improve and knowing that I've had a little bit to do in helping them.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes me happy.
I haven't met a black belt yet that hasn't been helpful.
Yeah.
I've been really fortunate in that regard. I have not crossed a black belt yet. And we've, again, through travel and all the rest of it, we've been very privileged to be able to meet a lot. And I've never met one yet that I haven't thought, wow, thank you.
I think so many, look, across the board. And I was having this very conversation with a new person yesterday who was saying, all my training partners have been so helpful and wonderful here. And I said, everyone remembers what it was like to be you.
Yeah.
And so everyone, once they can, they start to give back. If that's the culture, they start to give back.
Such a powerful statement,
yeah.
If that's the culture.
Yeah, if that's the culture.
Such a powerful statement.
Because there's cultures that don't exist like that.
Yep.
So, yeah. This is a long one. I like it. For me, it's about rolling with people and figuring them out. Right? Solving the puzzle, working out the patterns they use and finding a way to exploit them until they change or fix them. I think everyone kind of does it subconsciously, but I really try to think about the patterns and sequences that work for me or work on me and use them to build my game. That way, even when I get smoked, I want to figure it out and have another go.
Isn't that's such a powerful thing though? Like all of that is just saying, I still love learning.
Yeah.
I really still love putting myself out there and being able to learn from, against, for, with, without.
Yep.
That's huge.
He goes on to say, I was always most interested in figuring out what the higher belts were doing, why they moved certain ways, and how and why it worked. Jiu-Jitsu isn't at all therapeutic for me. If I can't he wrote that. Jiu-Jitsu isn't at all therapeutic for me. If I can't work something out, it or someone consistently hits the same move on me, it really bothers me until I do.
Yep.
Yeah. So he's got to solve that issue and solve that problem. Sorry that took ages to reply. I really had to think about that question.
It was a good answer.
Yeah.
And, fundamentally, again, it comes back to what we've talked about before about it being that jigsaw puzzle and putting the pieces together. And I talk about it from the perspective of I need to see the steps and all the rest of it. I rarely think, feel, see consciously the person I'm with.
Yeah.
For me, it's all about, and it's the same as winning or losing.
Shapes and body parts.
That's it, yeah. And you said the other day that I move, I do that subconsciously. I don't do that consciously. My body, Matt and I were talking about it last night. I have spent a lot of time in a horse saddle. And when you're riding horses, you need to feel like you are a part of that horse. So whenever a horse moves, you have to be, and it's pretty much from the hips down, you're moving. So when you laughed the other day about me being frustrated about my hips have always been such a fluid part of my body in the saddle.
Yep.
Put them on the mats and it's like they're, 2 blocks of fucking cement. 20 kilos cement.
Oh, stop it.
So, yeah, I get that. It's all. Yes, Addie.
Oh, can't wait to get her on the podcast.
I know.
I've got an answer here. Hey fam, I'm one of those people who doesn't feel centered unless I have resistance. I need a little bit of struggle to keep me on track. On a bigger note, I have always someone who geeks out on mastery. I've always been someone who geeks out on mastery. The other thing is my family. I have 4 women that I am responsible for and 2. I want them to be as dangerous as possible. Finally, without Jiu Jitsu, I wouldn't be able to casually put my hands on my homie's pants or in my homie's pants. So I got that going for me too. I'm not going to tell you who wrote that one.
That's producer Matt.
Hey, we're not giving anyone away. It was anonymous.
No. 2 things gave it away. Hey, fam. And the last bit, because my husband
it wasn't anything about the women?
No.
He's got 4 women to look out for.
It was definitely the shock comment at the end. Nutbag. But he did say, and that's probably a big thing too, and I'm going to be very controversial here, and people are going to understand it, get it or not. We've lost the ability to allow men to be men. We're demanding that they be soft, and it's not in their DNA. So we're caging these animals and expecting them to deliver. And that's society as a whole. And I don't care what country you go to, I reckon that's just where we're at in today's society. I don't agree with it. I understand there's reasons for it, but I think we've got it wrong.
I think it's probably, I think Western culture probably.
Yes.
A little bit. I think that the pendulum swung hard.
Yep.
I do think it's starting to swing back a bit. I think
by
we've got some
God, I hope so.
big people, like some big personalities out there that are sort of coming out and going, no, men need to be men.
Yes.
Men need to care and nurture and do all those things, but they need to protect and fight for and do it. Yes.
and allow that testosterone to be, you know. And if they're not allowed to be men, then how the fuck do they teach the next generation to step up and be men? You know, and I'm not saying don't everybody get on the high horse at me and all the rest of it. I'm not saying you have to belt him around the head and suck it up, Nancy, and boys don't cry and all the rest. That's bullshit. I'm not talking about that. Let's get real here for a second. So I knew that was my husband because I know that Jiu Jitsu allows him that opportunity to push back.
Yeah.
It allows him that ability to go hard up against someone. Now, he doesn't do that to me in a roll. He doesn't do that to you in a roll. He manages his ability to be a man against the person he's rolling with.
Yeah.
He doesn't just go on and fuck hard on the mats.
Oh, there it is. I was wondering where it was going to come out today.
He gets to go on the mats and he gets to, you know, escalate appropriately.
Roughhouse.
He gets to roughhouse.
And I say this to parents all the time who bring their son and daughter in, and they, you know, I had a parent say to me the other day, I want this for both of my children for different reasons. And I went, great. Because that's exactly what you're going to give them.
That's it.
The boys, they need to roughhouse and they need to learn boundaries and they need to learn respect and they need to learn how to care for their training partner, but how to also work with them and how to get tougher and more resilient.
Yep.
All those things. So there's a whole mishmash of personality that's going to get developed from this for them.
Yep.
For the girls, it's about breeding confidence and that belief in themselves that they can just go and own the world.
Yep.
So, yeah, there's two very different
and the
reasons.
defense, the self-defense component
Yep.
on both sides.
Well,
but very much
I
mine.
kind of like that is a byproduct. Learning the self-defense, yes, of course, but that comes from that confidence in knowing that they are worth defending. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So
I love that one.
Yeah, I that was the other giveaway for me, knowing that was my husband.
Here's another one. For me, it's always been about learning and honouring the art form of Jiu Jitsu. It's about challenging myself, always staying calm in the darkness and helping others develop and grow around me. Jiu Jitsu has got me through some really hard times in my life, so I owe a lot to the art and always want to give back what I can. Honestly, I couldn't imagine a life without Jiu Jitsu in it.
Do you know what? I love all of that, but the staying calm in the dark, what a perfect statement. Mm-hmm. What an absolute perfect take it into any aspect of life. You know, that ability to breathe. I remember, and I would have been about blue belt 2 stripes or something, and, you know, you're on the bottom and you can't find that little hole to breathe. And I would panic. I would literally go, fuck, tap, just get off me. I can't breathe. You know, and have my little spurgy moment and start again. And it was Matt used to say to me all the time, before you freak out and tap, look for the little hole.
Yeah.
There's always a little hole. If you stay calm, you'll find the little hole. Now, I know, we can take this anywhere. I'll try and keep it clean. See, you're the devil.
It's the devil on my shoulder.
I said that to you the other day about balls when we were talking about golf. I was talking about golf, Rach.
I know.
You've got a dirtier mind than me sometimes.
Oh, well, yeah, but usually it stays in there.
You're blushing. However, anyway, my point was that in learning to find the little hole, don't laugh, to breathe.
No, I gotcha. I'm with you.
I have also managed to calm my tism responses in general life.
Yes.
I look for the little hole to breathe when I'm about to lose my shit because I'm having a moment.
Yep.
And that was huge for me. You know, I think staying calm in the darkness is massive.
Huge.
Yeah, I like that statement. I'm going to steal that, whoever that was.
I'm not allowed to tell you. It's this black belt secret business.
Yeah, good. Well, I'm just going to steal it anyway, and that person's going to have to come for me if I'm not allowed to.
Oh, you don't want to be up against that person.
I don't want to be up against any of them. But at least then I'll know who it was.
I like this one. For me, the same thing that kept me going from the very first night, self-improvement. Extrinsic motivation is ineffective in the long term. And that's what I sort of hinted at before. You know, constantly improving themselves and just working on themselves and being the best person. And then they go on to reply later after a couple of things. Looking back at my answer was very brief. Allow me to elaborate. My motivation never changed. It's not in any way tied to belts. It never was. I find it amusing that people generalize that people at each belt share the same characteristics or motivations. For an example, looking at, say, blue belts, person A blue belt is very different to person B blue belt. You know, like a young athletic guy is very different to a mum, for example, or a very athletic purple belt is nothing in common with someone who might be in their 50s at purple belt. So for this person, it's all about just self-improvement every single day, 1% better every single day, that sort of thing, that idea, which I really like. I haven't actually read this one. It just came through.
Ooh.
So anything could be in here.
We might have to bleep.
It's all right. We have editing processes.
Yeah, that's right.
No,
we don't bleep me anyway, so we're not going to bleep anyone else. It looks like
it's got a love react from someone,
okay,
so
cool.
I think it's going to be good. The belt is a nice recognition of achievement, but it means nothing at the same time. Times have changed. I'm under no illusion that if we were to go head to head, that someone like a purple belt athletic guy who is a competitor couldn't just tap me in the sport of jiu-jitsu. But that doesn't discount the knowledge I have. For me, it's making these younger and hungrier people better than me and achieve things in a shorter time frame. Fill them with the knowledge that will allow them to be successful while they're still competitive. Oh, I really like that.
Can I just say that there is so many common themes across all of these comments, right? Yeah. The mental health, the journey, the learning, the techniques, all the rest of it. But every single comment that has come through, and I've read some of them on the internet as well, on Facebook and stuff, And then if I think now of all the black belts that we have interviewed over our 34 episodes, 35 episodes, whatever, yourself, my husband, Grant, Luke, you know,
Mitch.
Jerry, Mitch, George, it goes on, right? There is just this amazing, there's no other words for it other than beautiful sense of humility across all of you. There is just, I think what happens in jiu-jitsu is that the longer you are there, the more you do, the more you learn, the less ego you have. And that humility, that sense of, do you know what, I've been doing this 11 years, 14 years, 19 years, and I still have so much to learn. I can still get tapped out by a purple belt, athletic person 20 years younger than me and all the rest of it. They're not thought processes that come without experience. And I love that. I would hope that everybody is experiencing that from their black belts.
Look, I think it's just part of it because you do get humbled anyway. And that's, you know, part of this comment is saying this person gets humbled by the big, strong, athletic, competitive purple belt. And that's okay because they're 20 years younger. They're bigger, they're stronger. They've also got amazing technique that they have picked up by training with
the black belts. That's right. But I don't think it becomes okay, or I think it becomes more okay the bigger you are in regards to, you know, when I say bigger, I mean like black belt. Okay. I don't know that it is as okay when you're still finding your feet in the process and I still think there's that.
Oh yeah, because ego's still in play. Yeah, of course. But as you get older and more broken and and you know, we've talked about this a few times before, is that, you know, when Grant, Jay and I were all coming up through under our coach, he had 2 sessions a week that we could train in. That was it. You didn't miss training. Oh, hell no, you did. And you weren't late. No way were you late because you wouldn't want to miss a second of that training. So, you know, these days at Iconic, we have morning sessions, night sessions, 6 days a week. We run classes. You can train, you know, so many sessions a week. It's almost taken for granted, I think. That's why, you know, you have people rocking in 5 minutes late, you know, and you're like, man, would never have. We don't care, you know. At Iconic, like there's academies out there, you know, coaches make them do burpees or push-ups or stand on the side and wait to be invited on the mat if they're a minute late. We're just like, you know what, better late than never. We'd rather have you here than not. And we understand traffic can be bad from Sydney and people commute and all these sorts of things that happen. Although, but anyway, I will move on. Even though we know the ones that are
there's life happens sometimes, and then there's just that person,
the regular,
and every gym's got them.
But you know, I don't know where I was going with all of that anyway, but I don't know. I just think as we get through it, you know, you'll have people come in and they get to train. They're going to learn from you, number one. And if they use stuff on you that you've taught them, there's that two-sided coin of like, damn it, why did I teach you that? And also absolute pride that you have passed. That's your legacy as a black belt. And that's your legacy as a coach and someone who's a mentor, is to pass on to the generation after you all of this stuff. So, you know, that's the beautiful thing about it. That's what I really like. He goes on to say, but there is still the thing where I know I can protect myself and family if push comes to shove. You know,
and I think that's the really important thing too. I mean, I have no doubt that, I don't know, maybe 90% of the time, I'm not sure that black belts against non-black belts are always using all their skills. I think somewhere in there, you guys are always coaches, you guys are always teaching and educating. I think when you go up against each other, it's a completely different game. And if, you know, at the moment I'm sitting on the bleachers a lot, right? Because I've got to be careful and I'm taking things slow. And so I'm watching, And I watch, Iconic's got a lot of black belts that are
Yep.
coming in and rolling, right? You can see the difference between two black belts rolling together, and then you watch those same two people go on and roll with other people. It's a completely different game, And so I honestly believe that there is that constant mindset of teaching and allowing lesser belts to learn and put themselves in situations where they've got to think and come out from. And, the black belt could probably capitalize a lot more than what they're doing because they're not in it to beat the person up. They're not in it to win.
I think there's two sides of that, yes and no. So yes, in some ways we will roll to the level of our training partner +1. And I'll look at Matt and see if he gives me the nod or the shake of the head there. So yes, we might hold ourselves back a little bit, but we don't always hold ourselves back a bit. Sometimes you've got blue belts, purple belts, white belts who just hold on. And so it's hard to move with those people
Purple belts.
in the same way. And also a fear factor. I don't want to open myself right out because my training partner might get carried away and then that's when I'm going to get hurt, right? So there's a little bit of us shutting down. You've got to kind of put your turtle shell on a little bit to protect yourself because you don't entirely trust that person either. With other black belts, especially at Iconic, and, my roles with Matt and my roles with Brett, my roles with Jay and Grant and the others as well, I'll tend to open myself up really big and be wide open and free because I trust them 100%. I know that I can make space and be fluid and open with my movements because they are also going to not snap anything on real quick or that sort of thing as well. So that's why I think when you look at two black belts roll, it does tend to be like sometimes it looks really shut down and it's a game of millimeters, but other times it's like free and open and moving and upside down and inside out and this way and that way. I don't necessarily roll like that with all of my training partners because I don't trust.
No, but that's what I mean though. Like you're in coach mode. You're in that mode that says, I'm looking to see what they're doing, where they're going, what they're, you're not thinking like that when you're in a black belt to black belt
No,
role.
I'm thinking like, how can I out-trick you? How can you out-trick me?
Yeah.
This is fun.
That's
I'm
right.
upside down now. Oh, I'm back on top now. Sometimes I'm not thinking at all.
So, that's exactly my point, that the thought process is different when you're rolling with your students or you're rolling with people that are less educated than you in this space. And I watch all the black belts do it, and you're all fundamentally the same in that regard. And it's great. I think it's great. Even when you're protecting yourself and putting your turtle shell on, you're still doing it from the perspective of how can I help this person learn better?
Yeah.
You don't have to think like that when you're going up against another black belt as such.
That's true. Yeah, you can take that out of it. Shall we keep going?
Yep.
I lost a lot of motivation, honestly, until I got back into security work. Right now, I'm training 7 days a week, including boxing and Muay Thai. Nothing really happens at my work, but I want to be prepared in case it does. I will back my training right off once I'm done with the security work. Maybe there will become a time in the next few years when I can't do security work and I could step away from training completely. But for now, I'm all in. Before that, I had two things driving me that kind of overlap. I want to be ready in case there's a bump in the night. And also coming from being bullied as a kid, I never want to be in a position or state where I'm not prepared to stand up for myself.
I love that. And I love, if any parents are out there listening to this episode, want that for your kids. Want that for your kids.
Yeah. Don't let them go through the bullying first. I mean, the more I talk about or talk with people and you get their origin stories and backstories, I don't know if there's a person on this earth that hasn't been bullied at some point. Even if they've been a bully at some point themselves, they've probably been bullied as well. It seems to just be.
And usually not by other kids at that point when they're bullies. They've probably come from a real shitty background, a real shitty home. They're being bullied by the parents, the cousins, the bigger brothers.
Of course. I honestly think that that's what probably creates most bullies is that sense of that they don't have power, and so they go and pick on someone that is powerless.
Yep.
You know, just to get that sense of power back. So yeah, I mean,
The apple rarely falls far from the tree.
This is very, very true.
I mean, look, that's why, you know, we say it all the time. It's mandatory for our girls until they're 18. And we have homeschooled for the last 5 years. Our 3 children, as everybody knows, has just gone back to school for the first time in 5 years. All 3 of my kids walked into that school with their head held high.
Yep.
You know, and they were shit scared. They were betting each other money so they didn't cry and all the rest of it, the two with anxiety and whatnot. But they all walked in there and they held their head high. They've all got friends. They're all having an amazing time. I'm not sure that would have been the case if my kids hadn't spent the last 7 years doing jiu-jitsu. So why wouldn't you want to empower your children? And okay, if it's not jiu-jitsu, then find a martial art that works for you. And if you want to do netball and football, I'm not taking away from all of them, but why can't they do two? You know, give your kids a fighting chance. Start now.
It's swimming for land.
Yeah.
You know, you don't live on the east coast of Australia and not give your kids swimming lessons.
Absolutely.
You shouldn't live in society and not give your kids some way to protect themselves should they come up against someone who wants to hurt them.
You educate them on some level, whether it's homeschooling, schooling, college, whatever. You educate your children. Why wouldn't you educate them in the art of how to defend themselves should they ever need it? It's
Beautiful.
a no-brainer for me.
Beautiful. My son keeps me motivated. I don't train as often as I used to. The son is tiny. However, when I do train, I take him along with me. It's a safe environment with so many influential people around. I'm so passionate about jiu-jitsu that I hope one day my son will feel the same way about it. Black belt was never the goal. It was just to be better than I was yesterday.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I love
like
that.
Yeah, that's cool.
That was me too. You know, the black belt was never about me, as I said. It was just to keep going and doing what I love to do. And likewise, you know, the example that I'm setting for my children. Children don't do what you tell them. They do what they see you do.
Absolutely.
And that's why the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
So if you want your children to be strong, confident people who are doing good things with their life, then you have to be that example. You can't be a bum doing nothing with your life and expect your kids, I mean, some kids will rise from the ashes, right? And that's what humans do. I want my children to be better than I am, of course. And so I was saying to my son, whose birthday it was, you know, and we were out at lunch yesterday, and I said, have you had a good life so far? And he's like, yeah, I have. And I said, have you got lots of good memories? And he was telling me about some of his good memories. I said, have you got any like bad memories, like trauma memories? Like I'm thinking in my head, I know you haven't been through trauma, you know, but have you got any that you wish you didn't have? And he goes, no. And I said, all I wanted for you, mate, was to have a better childhood than I had. That's all I wanted. That was my goal. Yeah. And so I'm really happy at 17, almost 18, you know, he's an adult for lack of a better term, that hopefully I've done that for him.
That's it. You know, I think, there is a difference between being a parent and being a good parent, right? And there is no rule book in this space, and we're all going to fuck it up at some stage. So, you know, if you're giving yourself a hard time for being a parent, then you're a good parent because you're at least thinking about what you can do better and all the rest of it. So that's point number one. Point number two, we all want better for our kids. You know, like I think we're coming through that Gen X journey and the Gen Y journey where there's been things where it's been hard. We've had to, you know, my parents were hard in their raising of us. I didn't want that for my kids. And I had to learn, because I went to the other extreme, and I had to learn to pull back, you know, and go through that process. But the world doesn't get any kinder as we go through. And so irrelevant of whether or not you're setting yourself, your kids up for success in careers or how to make friends or whatever the case may be, you have to give them a sense of strength, confidence, self-ownership, right? Now, how you find that is 100% on you. Even if you're not doing it, you still have to instill this in your children. If you want them to be successful in adulthood, and understand how hard the world is at the moment. Like, it's not easy to be successful out there. And I'm not saying going and being a CEO or, you know, head of a corporation and all the rest of it. That's not defining success. Success is exactly as you asked Flynn. Are you happy? Can you confidently say you're happy? Can you look back and see that you have memories that make you smile and feel warm and feel seen through life? And can you walk into a room and look other humans in the eye and hold a conversation because you have been taught that your self-worth is worth something? If the answers to all of that is yes, then Mama Bear, you're doing real well, and Dad, you are too. In the mix of all that, for fuck's sake, let them learn how to defend themselves as well. Let them learn how to have some self-control, you know. Kids aren't allowed to get on the mats and beat the shit out of other kids. They have to learn to slow down, right? They have to learn to respect their partners. Well, don't you take that through life as well?
You do. And to this person's point, though, it takes a village to raise a child.
Yep.
And when you have a beautiful community like we do, and like this person is Academy, I know that they do as well, to bring your child up through that with all those wonderful positive role models around you, what a beautiful thing to be a part of. So when, you know, this person, they're a black belt, they have a child, they want to stay in jiu-jitsu because of the community that they're allowing their children to be a part of. Now, this person was integral in the raising of my children.
Yep.
He was a pivotal person, training partner, came up with me. And I remember when my eldest son got his license or was about to get his license. And this particular person, you know, he drives cool cars and he works for a corporation that is involved in car racing in a sort of roundabout way and stuff like this. And Connor made a point about car racing and going fast and this and that. And he goes, oh, don't be like me. Learn from my mistake. He goes, I got booked by a cop when I was on my P's. I had to, pay a fine. Increase my insurance. Do what I do now. Drive sensibly within those, And he was like, he gave Connor this talk. It meant nothing to him. He probably went home and didn't even think twice about it. The next time I hopped in the car with Connor, because he was still on his L's, his whole attitude towards driving had changed. I noticed it instantly. Yep. And I messaged this guy and I was like, thank you so much. You have no idea how much your conversation with him impacted him. I'd been harping about it for weeks. Slow down. Don't go fast through that roundabout. Look, and my training partner has one conversation with him and all of a sudden his whole driving changed. Yep. We have to surround our children and ourselves with positive people. Mm-hmm. Jiu-Jitsu academies are wonderful places for that.
Yep. And if you're in one that's not, then get out and go and find another one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because the bad ones are, less than they're a real small percentage in the world of jiu-jitsu. So we talked about this the other day with the Subversion guys, that when you guys all first started, there was 1 or 2 gyms in any central location. Nowadays there's 7, 8, 9, 10 in areas. So whatever area you're in, if your academy's not showing that positive community enforcement with kids and family, then go find one that is.
Absolutely.
Especially if you're bringing kids through. It's really important.
I'm mindful of time. I reckon we could do a part B.
Yeah. We might have to.
I think we've covered off some amazing topics today and some amazing reasons behind what keeps people motivated. But I'm just looking through, I literally opened up the Facebook page. I've just gotten a top contributor badge because I've got so many responses on my post, and I actually really want to go through some of these and there is some amazing answers here. So I don't want to just cut it off, but we could go on and for a little while.
There is one there though that I was reading. Oh my gosh, you're up to 20 comments already.
Yeah.
There is one in there that I'd really like to go and
Is that the wrist locking white belts?
no.
I knew we'd get some smart ass answers.
You can read that one out then. Go for it.
Joe
No
just
problem.
did. That was it. They like to wrist lock white belts. Let's just quickly go. I will just quickly flick through some of them. A serious love for the sport, the flow of fun rolls, the new and inventive techniques that seem to come weekly, like it never stops, which I think is really cool. What else have we got? The more I learn, the more I'm reminded that I don't even know what I don't know.
That's true.
Absolutely love doing it, love learning new techniques, love teaching kids and watching them transform into strong, disciplined individuals. I love rolling with everyone. Almost 20 years on the mats and I'm still fascinated with Jiu Jitsu. I don't think I'll stop until my body gives up on me.
Oh, that's lovely.
That's really cool. I think once you hit black belt, you reflect on everyone that you've ever met along the way. The people have given everything to you. It's your responsibility to give back to jiu-jitsu. It's given me so much and I've met so many amazing people on the mats. Like, honestly, theme after theme after theme is coming through the same. Nowadays, at 60 years old, mainly have to catch up with the many friends that I've made over the last 25 years. It also keeps me reasonably strong and fit, although the body often can't do what the brain wants to do.
You hear to that. I want to read one out.
Yep.
Okay, this is from a friend of ours. Black belt, you realize how much you really don't know. It is the best point of conscious incompetency and the biggest leaps of conscious competencies. Understanding the how and the why.
Yeah.
Hi, Mitch.
Hey, I wasn't going to give names. And I told them on that post we weren't giving names. What else have we got? Fresh black belt here, so imposter syndrome, haha, just trying to meet my own expectations of holding such a rank. But on a deeper level, the love of the sport, the mind, the body, the rewards of training.
I love this one, and it's a bit of a long one, so I'll read fast. But I'm 70 years old. My last competition was 10 years ago and I won't do another. The instructor that awarded me my black belt retired and closed his school in 2022. I joined a school run by two of his best students but struggled to keep up with their strong focus on no-gi competition. Flying, spinning, inverted entries into the Z-lock were not for me and I was thinking it was time to hang it up as there seemed to be no place for me. I met Hickson, black belt, in late 2023, who totally blew me away with his fresh take on the fundamentals and how to employ them. This gave me fresh hope. I am training with him now and enjoying it, trying to contribute to his academy success where I can, and my jiu-jitsu is still improving. I have friendships in this game that I don't want to give up, and I get to hang out with interesting younger people when many of my contemporaries seem to want to discuss only ailments, medications, cruises and grandchildren. Jiu-jitsu needs to have a place for its seniors and elders as well as comp killers. Otherwise, it deserves to wither and die. I just got to say, I love the fact that this person had done so much time, effort and energy into this, gentle art, got to black belt and then thought it was over.
Well, after it seemed to just be like sport jiu-jitsu.
Gone away that he
Yeah.
couldn't keep up with, be
Yep.
a part of and all the rest of
Yep.
it. And then found another gym
Yep.
with another person
Yep.
that allowed a different kind of community to open up. Now, we say this every time. I don't care if you're white, blue, purple, brown, black. If you're at a point where you're giving up because of the community you're in, change the damn community.
Yep.
Like, just do it. It's not the sport.
Yeah.
It's not you. Go and find your people.
I like that he rediscovered the art.
Yeah. Yep.
You
And
know?
he's still learning and
It's
is
the martial
invigorated.
art.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's really important for academy owners to have a balance,
Yep.
and that's something that we really try to do at Iconic. We have a sport component.
Yep.
We have competitors that do very, very well, but we also have the martial art side of it too. And it's a beautiful thing, and you can have both. You don't have to just be just down that self-defense side of things and don't do any sport or competition or anything like that, or just be down no-gi side of things, sport, and everything else, and it's all inverted upside down things.
You can have both if you want the broad spectrum of community. If you don't want it, that's okay.
Yeah.
Go do you, boo, be you, and all the rest of it. But also, don't take offence then if members are going, hey, thanks, not for me, see you later.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Own who you are in that space.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
So,
I pay that.
but you know what? We will never be we will never be with we won't ever be without you, but if we were to ever move away or do whatever, our world will never be a single-minded gym.
Yeah.
Like, you guys meet us on that level where you are that broad spectrum.
I just love that we have a broad spectrum of community.
Yeah.
And I love what that does for our culture, because we have mum and dads and we have husbands and wives and we have young athletic people coming up, and they all work together, and there's mentors and friendships and alliances between people that sometimes I go, oh, that's unusual. I wouldn't have put those two together. But everyone's just getting along so well, and it does wonderful things for the culture. So, that's why it's important to us. But thank you to everyone that sent out replies. That was really
Absolutely.
cool.
That was huge. And you know what? I want to say as well, thank you to all of the female black belts out there. I have 3 daughters who have had the privilege to meet a number of female black belts, and they have never been disappointed. And my children have got something from all different female black belts, right? You saw what Willow got from Fion. You saw what Scarlett got from
Adele.
But also the local black belts too, that come from different areas too, to come through the school on open mats and things like that. My kids adore you. One of my daughters went out and bought the same perfume as you. So, creepy, not. But in this space, for my girls at the moment, going through competitions and things, there aren't a lot of girls in this space. And so for my girls to have those black belts to look up to and go, it's achievable. You say it every episode. You just got to keep turning up.
Yeah.
So for every single black belt that is out there listening far and wide, thank you. Congratulations to you for just turning up to every black belt. But to every female black belt, thank you. Thank you for just turning up, because you guys become the inspiration. No matter where you are, my kids follow a lot of people on the internet, on Instagram and things like that, and you guys become the inspiration for them to keep turning up.
Thank you. Do you want to know my answer?
Yep.
So I've given it quite a bit of thought this week, and there was a whole thing online in a group that I'm in for lady Jiu Jitsu owners and coaches, where a lady put up saying, I just feel like my own training is suffering because I own an academy. How do you all feel about that too? Because I'm juggling so many balls, I've had to let some training go. And overwhelmingly, the response from all of these other women out there was, yeah, I agree. I can't train as much. I've just had to be good with letting it go. I don't get, it's just something that's part and parcel of it, this and that and everything. And I sat and I read through all of these comments. All of these women were going, yes, I agree with you. I have to put myself second because I run the business. And I got on there and I went, rubbish. It's rubbish. Don't put yourself second. Mm-hmm. Unless, some of them were saying, and look, I agree with this as far as they were working a full-time job and running an academy and had young children and.
Yeah, that's hard.
That is hard. You're juggling a lot of balls there. But if you are running an academy, there's no...
You said balls. Sorry.
Golf balls. There's no reason why you have to put yourself second. In fact, it is doing your students, who you claim to be doing this all for, it's doing them an injustice.
Yep.
So I really sat down and really worked out that I have 3 training sessions a week that are mine. That is Monday night, Thursday night, and Saturday morning.
Yep.
And on those nights, I will choose training partners who I want to roll with, who are going to give me value for myself.
Yep.
Now, they don't know any different. I roll with them on other nights too. But on those nights, I'm hunting. I'm hunting for things that I'm working on. I'm hunting for submissions I want. I'm doing training for me. So I flip that switch in my mind. I'm going, tonight's about me. It's not about you. It's about me. Does that mean I'm a dick? No. I still train with them like I would anyone. But I'm searching out for my training on those nights. That means I may decline a roll with the 100 kilo purple belt because I'm not in that frame of mind for that night. Or on the flip side, it might mean that I go hunting for that purple belt 100 kilo guy.
Depending on what you're trying to do.
Because I might want to suffer. It might be about the suffering tonight. Whereas on another night, it might be like, I'm really just trying to work out this technique. So I'm going to pick people that I know that I can practice it on, sharpen my sword a bit. I'll come for you on another night. So that's what I do. Most people train 3 to 4 times a week. That's pretty good training. I'm getting in 3 solid sessions that are all about me. And then the other times that I'm on the mat, I'm giving back. That's just what I try and do.
But you know what? We've said this a lot too, and I know we have. You've got to take. You can't go through life just giving. You can't go through life just taking. You have to find that balance.
You got to put the oxygen on yourself so you can help others.
That's exactly right.
When I talk about what motivates me, yes, number one, the students. I'm all there for I'm 100% in for the students. I love to see them grow. I love to see them become better, and that motivates me. What also motivates me is me getting better. And if I don't get better, I'm doing them an injustice. So it all comes back to them as well. But also, I want to be on the mats and I want to be fit and healthy. And I have a mum who's unfit and who's unhealthy, and she's 72, and she's just starting her fitness health journey. After all of these years, she's decided, well, I've sort of told her, now's the time. If you want to be around at 90, you need to start now.
That's it.
So I'm thinking I'm 46. If I want to be on the mats rolling with my grandkids at 66, I need to start now. So I'm looking at my training and I'm trying to be better and I'm trying to improve and I'm finding those. And I love the puzzle. That's what keeps me motivated. So right back to that very first reason and that very first comment, I love the puzzle too. And I love to solve it.
You're still very passionate about Jiu Jitsu.
Yes.
You light up when you talk about Jiu Jitsu and what you get out of it, what you give, what you put into it. All of those things still invigorate you. I wonder if some of these women, the light hasn't gone out for them in that regard. They've lost that.
But do you know what puts
passion.
the light out quicker than anything else? Not doing it.
That's right. Giving up. We're not giving up, but finding the reasons why you can't. You find the reasons too.
I find the reasons why I can.
That's right. Yes. And so again, and we've talked about this too, when you are coaching, you are still learning.
Yes.
I know that better than anybody as well.
Yep.
So you know, all these women are still learning. They're still they're enforcing their learnings. They're enforcing their understanding by coaching. But there is always the ability to be able to put yourself first at some stage. And it's not selfish. It's not being a dick. There is nothing wrong with it. And I would argue you're being a martyr if you don't.
And I would also argue that you're a better person when you do for everybody else around you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I agree with that victim mentality too. Yep. I had a student come in yesterday who said since the beginning of the year, they've been making a real conscious effort to train more. And surprisingly, it's made me enjoy Jiu Jitsu more. Yep. And I went, that's like a no-brainer, duh.
Absolutely. And
of course you're going to enjoy it more when you do it more because you know more and then it becomes more enjoyable because it's actually fun to win. When you're not doing it and you're crap, you're losing all the time. Yeah, I can see how that's not fun either.
But it also makes the down less too.
Yes.
You don't fall down. You know, we've talked about mat blues and all the rest of it. The more you're doing it, the better you're getting. You're still having your shitty days, right? You're still having your fucked that up so badly.
Yeah.
But you almost get to go, oh well, okay, tomorrow's another day.
Yeah.
Right? If you're there repetitively doing it. If you have one day here, one day there and all the rest of it, and there's 3 of those in a row that are bad, yeah, you're going to beat yourself up, put yourself into a hole and probably not come back. So I'm with you. The more you're there, the more you're doing it. I am there right now. I'm afraid. And I have to keep going and getting on the mat if I am ever going to beat this fear.
Yep.
So, it's the same old adage, do it more, it gets better, it gets easier, it gets more fun.
It's kind of like, and I don't know the numbers, but there's a viral meme that goes around constantly, and it's about Michael Jordan shooting hoops. And it's about like the thousands of ones he actually missed in order to get the 10 that he got in.
Yep.
Or whatever that is,
It's the same.
It's exactly
with
the same. The more you do it, the more success you get, even amongst all the fails.
Smart people work hard every day.
Yep, absolutely.
Be smart.
And we'll end it on that note. What's your hope today, Kaz?
Oh, so many. Okay. My hope is that anybody who is not a black belt has black belts like the black belts we know. That all of the people that have responded on socials, in emails and all the rest of it, all of these black belts, I hope the people around you appreciate you. Because I think, as I said in the podcast, there was so many themes coming through those messages from the black belts, but the biggest 2 takeaways I have from pretty much every single message was that the humility that you people display and the need and enjoyment you get from giving back. And I think every single person below you is fortunate. So my hope is that everybody out there understands the journey of a black belt and what they've had to go through and endure to get it, and then respect it and be fortunate to learn from them.
Yep.
That's my hope.
I love it. I don't know if I can top that. I guess my hope would be, don't be afraid to take for yourself so that you can give back.
Yep.
And don't give it up. Yeah. Be part of it. Be part of your community.
Yep.
I don't know if we quite realize sometimes how impactful and inspirational we are to people coming up through the ranks. I know that, I remember getting tingles at Jiu Jitsu one night at my coach's academy because there was 4 or 5 of the black belts standing out the front. And I'd never seen it before. So it was after Grant and the 4 guys had gone to the States, and they all came back and they were all there on the mats. And Luke was there, Ruben, Keone and Grant, and they were all standing out the front. And I think one of the other black belts that had been a black belt for a while might have been there too. So it was all these people standing out the front, and it literally gave me tingles because we were only ever used to seeing Luke stand out the front.
Yep.
For so many years. Now we have so many black belts in Jiu Jitsu.
Yeah.
There never used to be black belts in Jiu Jitsu. Like we heard on Luke and Grant's podcast, like the highest person in Australia was a purple belt when Luke started.
And all the matches stopped for them.
Yeah, exactly. And now, like we had just a regular Monday night this week where there was 6 black belts on the mats in that last bow out,
Yeah.
It's just amazing. Don't forget how inspirational you are.
And that doesn't mean, even though we've got so many more now, it doesn't mean that the journey to get there was any easier.
Oh, no.
So
in fact, it's harder.
Yeah, so let's not misplace that.
It is harder. There used to be a time when a white belt and a blue belt were pretty easy to beat in the room, and that's not the case anymore. Because people are coming through and they're learning so much quicker than ever before. There's so much more information out there, so many more opportunities for them to be on the mats multiple times a week. So these white belts and blue belts are way better than the white belts and blue belts when I was coming up.
Yeah.
And they're tough, man. Like they're getting tougher and tougher. So and our old broken bodies, this, that, everything else. But I love it. I wouldn't give it up for the world. It's just the best thing. And, if everyone can achieve that at some point and you get there and you can get to look back and go, damn, that was a journey, and I'm still on it, and
Yep.
it's still awesome, and I have the most incredible bonds with people around me. I want that for everyone listening.
Yep.
But you won't know it unless you get there, and you've got to put in the work, you know. So that's my hope.
Smart people work hard every day. Before we go, I do want to do a shout out. Subversion, 22nd of March.
Yes.
Guys, if you haven't got your tickets, please listen to the episode. These guys are amazing. They put on an amazing show in Sydney. 22nd of March. Look it up on Moshtix.
You can get your tickets on Moshtix, so you
Yeah.
can, you know, there's different levels of ticket, front row, balcony, or GA. If you want to come hang with the Iconic crew, we're in GA.
Come on down. We'll both be there too, right?
We will absolutely
if you want to
be
come
there.
out, if you happen to be there because you listened to the podcast and you thought you'd come down, please come and say hello to us too. We'll be sitting in the crowd
let us
somewhere.
know. That would
That'd
be so
awesome.
cool. The other thing is, if you're not able to attend, you can get on Flow Grappling and watch it there. You'll
Yep.
listen to Grant commentate, and you'll
Absolutely.
see one of our superstars in the making, Jaden, have one of probably the hardest matches of his career so far. So that would be really exciting. But it's a great show, and we fully support it 100%.
Absolutely. So, Subversion, 22nd of March. Please get the tickets. Please come along. Come say hi. That'd be
Woohoo.
amazing.
Love it.
And one other thing I want to say, who's coming? Who's coming to dinner?
Oh, we've got Josh Barnett on the
Woohoo!
podcast in a couple of weeks' time.
sure
So
do.
that's going to be absolutely amazing too. So keep an ear out for that.
My
Cannot
husband's
be more
crushing.
excited. I know,
Crushing.
he's
Mad
so
crushing.
excited.
I know.
Actually, I honestly think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the beautiful upgrades to our beautiful studio
All for Josh.
actually have nothing to do with us. It's all about Josh.
You know, you play those games, who would you leave your partner for? Yeah, we're there.
There we go. All right. On that note, have a wonderful week.
You too,
And
honey.
we'll talk to you soon.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
This podcast is a My Broken Soldier production.
And brought to you by Iconic Jiu Jitsu.